What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of No Rain, No Rainbows podcast. I'm glad you're joining us today. We have an awesome episode in store for you, but if this is your first time listening, we'll sum it up like this. Life is hard, but we promise it's worth the squeeze. It's about a podcast of getting through your storms and your hard times in order to reach your goals and the success that you desire in life. And joining me today, a good friend of mine. We've had some good times together. Nick Gilley in the house. What's up, man?
What's up? Hello, podcast land.
How you feeling today?
Man, I feel good. Today's a good day. It's Friday. I'm happy.
Yeah, Friday, almost at the weekend, so a lot to celebrate. Absolutely. And all that. For the listeners at home or in the car that are paying attention right now who might not know who Nick Gilley is, first and foremost, how do you not know who Nick Gilley is? Secondly, why don't you educate them really quick?
All right, so Nick Gilley, of course, first and foremost, a father, a husband, but also Base 360 is a general contracting company that I own, and we have Metabolic. It's a gym here in downtown Greenville that my wife and I own. We have two other subsidiaries on my contracting company as well, a coatings company that does roofing, and also a logistics company that does a little trucking. So
that's a lot, man.
Yeah. We're getting after it.
I'm pretty sure that didn't all happen at once, right?
No. This is quite the progression.
You had to build up to that, right? So I guess let's go back to page one of the story of Nick Gilley from Davidson, North Carolina.
Right.
Born and raised.
Right. Look at you doing your homework.
I do my due diligence. So talk about, I guess, early life growing up. What brought you from Davidson, North Carolina? What made you choose UNC Charlotte and the I guess the path you ended up studying?
Right.
What was that like?
So, like you said, Davidson, North Carolina. Of course, followed the family. My dad went and started a construction company. He became part of a development company that had construction on the side. So, grew up on job sites, and that's what was there. So you see so much of the growth in Charlotte now, and this was at the beginning of that. We're talking late '80s, early '90s is when we moved to there, and I was able to watch a city with not much happening, a downtown that was not vibrant, grow from the inside out.
Was this Charlotte?
Yeah,
nice.
This was Charlotte. So even though we were living in Davidson, that my dad's business was all over. So Davidson's a small town, but he was Lake Norman, massive lake, NASCAR country out there. And so he was the first to do multifamily development on Lake Norman. And, really it was the stomping grounds, right? Grew up on the lake, spent my summers on the boats, the jet skis, and we lived a good life. My dad started with nothing, built this huge company, and we were living good, man.
Nice.
It was good times. So, made it through the years, decided to stay close and go to UNC Charlotte. Funny story, I was actually given the opportunity to go out of town, out of state to some colleges, or my dad was like, hey, if you want to stay close, I'll buy you a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's like, and save you an in-state tuition, we'll get you a new Grand Jeep Cherokee. So I was like, yeah, I think I'll take that option.
That sounds good.
So I got a new ride. But no, really, it's, no rain, no rainbows, the hardships, right?
Yeah.
So it was interesting story. It's like, how much do you want to talk about vulnerability? Let's get after it, right? So silver spoon, we had everything we could possibly need growing up. And one day I had just met my freshman year of college, UNC Charlotte, just met my girlfriend, now my wife. We were taking her out on the boat. I said, I have my very own boat. It's nice. Dry storage on Lake Norman. And we go out there and take her, two other friends. Hey, you mind, let's get this boat off the lift. Let's get in the water. Let's get after it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, sorry, the sheriffs came. They took the boat 2 days ago. It's
really?
now been seized. It's like, oh, Dad, let's have a talk. What happened? What happened? So, it was, every business has its up and downs, right? So my dad had a great development company. He had a lot of construction happening, pretty similar price points. He wasn't diversified, and the market seized up. It dried up for what he was building, and those decades of work just gone.
Was this 2008 that hit everybody, or was it prior?
No, this was prior. So
wow.
This was 1998, so 20 years, 10 years prior to that. So 98, 99, lost everything. And so went to college. It's what it was, right?
Yeah.
My parents, they struggled, but I was a freshman in college. We just decided to get after it.
That
was behind me.
Did you feel that effect of that change? How did you deal with that?
Well, the entrepreneurial spirit was there. right? Well, I mean, we can go ahead and talk about, well, the 2008 had, the circumstances for it was a lot in the mortgage crisis, right? I have a good, story to how crazy it was to be able to get mortgages. So this was 1999. I was 19 years old. I had $5,000 that I'd worked up and saved, and no credit history, no credit cards, no nothing. So there was a new condo being built right beside UNC Charlotte. I went to a bank and said, is there any way I can buy this brand new condo, closest residence, next to the college? It's like $5,000 down. They're like, absolutely, let's sign you up. So I was able to get like a $120,000 mortgage, $120,000. Bought the condo. My mortgage payment was $707 a month. It's a 3-bedroom. I had 2 roommates that paid $350 a month. So from my freshman year of college all the way to I graduated, I paid $7 a month to live.
Wow.
So, it was like, how do you maintain that? It's like, I wasn't worried about that. I studied hard. We got student loans that paid for the tuition, but I also had jobs. I was very lucky to get great jobs early on. Started out at some restaurants where we worked late nights, making $200-300 a night. In college, it's good money, right?
Real good money.
And then, I left and was able to go to a valet company where I spent 3 or 4 years. And within 2 months of working there, they made me a manager. I don't know why. But I was working the nicest restaurants in Charlotte, just driving the nicest cars, making loot.
Yeah.
And studying hard. It was, at the time, I was studying finance and entrepreneurship. So I double majored at UNC Charlotte, knowing that I wanted to learn the movement of money.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn from my father's faults, how he lost his business was not managing money right. And learning how financial markets work, learning diversity, it's like 101, to be diverse. Don't have all your eggs in one basket.
It's funny because listening to when you said you were lucky enough to have a bunch of jobs to make money, I think it wasn't luck. I think that was work ethic.
Right.
You're talking about double majoring, working multiple jobs. You're making money. You're also using your street smarts and also the business smarts that you've learned growing up to kind of give yourself this, I guess, this environment of growth and this environment of really financial wellness. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily luck. There is some luck that falls into it, I'm sure. But you talk about working late nights and working your way up to be a manager. I think that's hard work, man, and that's just kind of getting after it, like you said.
And actually, in the interviews that I do now, when I interview people, I ask that question, do you consider yourself lucky? I inherently believe what you're saying. I don't think there is luck. There's work ethic.
Yeah.
And, your path is completely created by your efforts. So you say that in your mind, you're like, I'm lucky, but, in all honesty, you're exactly right. It's putting in the hours, putting in the effort.
Yeah.
Making smart decisions.
Yeah. Preparation.
Yeah.
I say the harder I work, the luckier I get.
And it's the truth right there. And, that's one thing that we've always just done. I've just worked really hard. And, I'm really good about learning from my mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. Mm-hmm. I've made some really bad decisions, but it's my motto, never make the same mistake twice. And sometimes, things happen, but if you take, life series of events, take those mistakes, just don't let that stuff happen again. You're making a great path for yourself.
That's valuable.
I do never take the same L.
Yeah, never take the same L.
Yeah.
Those are lessons.
Yeah. You have to audit the things you do.
Yeah.
Because, your current situation is based on all your past mistakes and successes. So if you increase the successes and reduce the mistakes, there's only one way to go.
Taking ownership in your future, knowing that you have control of what, I guess, your destiny is.
Mm-hmm.
As far as preparing for that, knowing that everything that happens to you, so
Yeah.
you could have prepared a little bit for your knowing that you can kind of dive a little bit harder, a little bit.
Keep progressing.
Keep progressing.
Yeah.
All forward.
All forward. Inside joke. So going through school and I guess as you're coming towards junior, senior year and I guess getting ready to transition into the real world, what were those next few years like?
Well, it was, I didn't think I was getting into construction. It was like, that's why I did the finance. I was like, I thought about the finance sector. the sector. And then I loved entrepreneurship. You know, of all the financial classes, everything else I took, really what grabbed me was entrepreneurship. I loved it. I loved my teachers. It was just creative, that creative spirit. And that's one thing that I've always had for myself. I won't say I'm artistic, but extremely creative in the mindset of creation. So taking, an idea, a concept, and streamlining it to make it a reality. So it brought me back to construction.
There you go.
It was, like I say, I didn't really have sand piles I played in as a kid. It was sawdust piles. It was on job sites. So it was in me. It's in my blood. So I knew I was going to get back into construction, and it was just calling me out there, just like, back there, the angel on your shoulder. This is what you need to be doing. So I looked at Charlotte. I looked at its growth, and we just kind of looked at the map. I said, I don't want to be one of the millions in Charlotte. Where can we go with an up-and-coming city? Sarah and I was like, well, actually, with my dad. He was like, hey, let's go look at Greenville. He's like, I've driven through there a few times. He's like, I think it'd be a great area for y'all to check out. So Sarah and I just came down here for a weekend, and we fell in love with the city. This was 2003, and within a few months, we just moved down here. Didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
Didn't have a job. We just moved here. And started my construction company, and it was quickly, got some renovations. I had a couple of companies. One, I brought my dad, kind of reeled him in back out of his semi-retirement, back out there, and I wanted to do some development. I thought I could come out there, as this new kid on the block, ultra energy efficient, like I'm going to be the greenest builder there is out there. At the same time, I wanted to have my own company, and I started Base 360, which was a small side job, Base 360, bringing the home full circle, renovations, small renovations. And then we'd had a development company, which was TRV Development at the time. And I came up with a concept. I was able to find some land downtown, find the owner to subordinate land to us, which means gives you land. He becomes part of the development team, but gives you land, and that's equity to the bank. And I developed a concept. This is a neighborhood called the Elements. It's in the North Main area.
Was all that an easy process, or was
no, man. There's nothing easy about that at all. But I just dove in. There was really, I watched people do it my whole life. I read about it, I learned about it, and then it was just let's go all in. So started this project 2007 when we started it. It was right 2008, 2009 when it was fully off the ground. We'd had some construction done, and we were getting to building 3 on the project, which was a condo building. And all like I said, this was a very ultra efficient community. It was the building science at its finest. It was like modular construction, like homes built in a factory with individual panels brought in. So we were trying to decrease waste, try to keep it local, all sustainable products.
Was that in demand at the time? Like, did you notice that was in demand, or were you kind of just?
Yeah, it really wasn't. That's what people love the idea of being green, the concept of decreasing, their impact on Earth. When it comes down to their pocketbook, like, I love the idea, but I don't need it to cost more. If it's costing more, I'm okay with, the way people are doing things. It's, the end product's a little different materials, but it looks the same. Yeah. It's just your environmental impact's less in this one, and it costs more. Yeah. So when it comes down to it, in Greenville, South Carolina, people like the idea. I learned a lot. But, with how far we were trying to push green building, there wasn't a market for it. Mm-hmm. So we were able to rein it back in. We were able to find ways in construction that, are very much cost effective. It's pretty much very similar to what everybody else is doing, but just smarter.
How important was it for you to kind of adjust in real time while you're pushing all forward towards going green, and you realize, okay, the market's still asking for this? What was that adjustment like?
Well, we built some stuff and we didn't make any money on it, and I was like, let's reassess. Yeah. So it's the next one. You're doing kind of built like 4 units at a time, like a building at a time. Like, okay, this one didn't work. Let's dial it back. Let's go back and save some money on cost of construction. And so it happens pretty fast. You're able to have that linear nature of a business moving forward. You're able to chop it up. Well, okay, let's decrease cost here. Let's still say we're green. Back it off some to make sure that we're still able to sell homes and make profit. This is for-profit business, so it's, of course, it'd be great if everybody was just after protecting the environment at all costs, no matter what it costs. I mean, I should say, but no. So we dialed it back, but at the same time, we're figuring all that out. Here comes 2008, 2009. So we had a condo building, and I don't know how many people know at the time, but condo buildings were the reason for the crash, right? So it was, Florida, California, so many massive condo buildings went up and they didn't sell. So they had these huge shelves, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of residential units in the U.S. just stopped selling. And that was what caused the economy to crash. And of course, I had a condo building. Of course, all banks seized up. We're not lending to any more condos. It's like, well, let's assess the situation. But, I don't know, Ted, how far you want to dive into my rabbit hole here.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get in it.
So at that time, we were doing all this in Greenville. I was asked to be a development partner for another company, and it was based out of Atlanta. So it was kind of this all-encompassing, all-in-one development team where you had a lawyer who was the president, you had an engineer, you had an architect, we had a land designer, we had 2 construction partners, my father and I, and it was a tax credit syndicate. So its focus was on historic restoration. Right now we're sitting in this beautiful building. This is a prime example of what historic restoration can do.
Yeah.
Tax
Anybody
credits, right?
watching, this is an old mill, an old textile mill that they turned into an apartment complex. And we kind of had the setup, if anybody's watching on YouTube, we have the gym behind you, and we have the brick kind of giving the whole contrast of gym owner and contracting. Hope you appreciate the scenery.
It's perfect for me, right?
Yeah.
This is what we do. Once we make it to the end over here, and I can tell you what we're after right now, it's this, salvaging these structures. And how I became to love these structures was this company that I became part of. And it was mostly based out of South Georgia. So we were finding smaller towns that have amazing old buildings that are historic buildings 50 years old or older. And they didn't have anything to do with them, and they would give them to people if they found a use. So developed this development team to come in, and we were traveling. I was building here in Greenville, but I was traveling all throughout Georgia, assessing these buildings. We were doing forensic construction science, right? We were going through them, finding, what's wrong with them, and if they can be used again. Well, we found one in Thomasville, Georgia, and it was a great building, center of downtown. This Thomasville's about 30 miles north of Tallahassee, and it's old plantation money down there. So it's tons of money down there, hunting grounds and everything. Really nice town. The economy was good prior to the crash, but we had this building that was built right into the downturn, and then here comes 2008, 2009, and what do we have? We have 30 more condos down there. I have a few condos here in Greenville. There's no more condo lending at all. So we had a lot, outstanding right when it hits. So no rain, no rainbows.
This is the storm.
That's the storm. So the storm hit, and so the project in South Georgia that foreclosed, bank took it over, boom, massive amounts of, credit debt now. So those banks, they're after you. You're signing personal liabilities. If you're a developer, they want your name on it. So
you have your head on the on the spigot, pretty much.
That's right. I was not in control of that company. I provided solutions that we could have tried to salvage it, and they didn't want to listen to it. I was the young guy. I was with a bunch of old people in the group, and they were like, "No, we can make this happen. We can sell these units. We'll be all right." But they didn't get sold. For my project in Greenville, it's like, let's adapt. Let's react to the environment. I can't sell condos. Let's just rent condos. Let's just get through the storm. Let's rent them. And that's what I tried to do in South Georgia. It didn't happen, but here for the elements in Greenville, the bank didn't take it over. We got renters in there. We covered the mortgage payment.
Beautiful.
We just let it ride.
I love what you just said there. Let's just get through the storm.
Yeah.
Because anybody that's listening, I think that's the main important thing really about this podcast is getting through the storm.
Right.
Because they're going to hit.
They're going to hit.
You said it at the beginning. Businesses are all about ups and downs. And you got the storm and you said, okay, let's withstand and open up this umbrella and hold on.
and that's what it was. It's you go through this time, and this was my wife, 2009, my son was born, so we're just now bringing our first child in, and we have projects that are foreclosed. It's a terrible time in the economy. We're adapting. I was trying to do all this new construction. There was no more lending going on. Mm-hmm. So you react, you adapt. We just started renovations again. So even though people aren't building new homes anywhere, let's just go back to the beginning, back to where Base 360 was, and let's just go into people's homes. Let's renovate kitchens, let's do bathrooms, let's do whatever we can. And just me and one other guy, with the tool belts on, we would just get after it.
Was that a
So-
huge scale? I mean, that sounded like it was a huge scale back from everything you were
Of course,
doing.
massive,
You know,
massive scale back.
going back to
Um,
the fundamentals and pretty much the roots of where you started.
And this is a decade ago, and people still remember how bad it was, but they forget very quickly as well. Like it was a really bad time
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
It was worse for the guys in construction. The whole crash happened because of mortgage crisis, and mortgage is based on construction and people building. So the whole industry tanked.
And you were on the front lines of that pretty
Yeah.
much.
And I mean, we lost 60-70% of construction companies, folded at that time. And there was no work, no business. So it was, 3-4 years of very little happening.
What does that do to? I kind of want to get to like the feeling behind this whole time, right? Like, what does that do to one's pride? Because I think it's easy to build something and you're moving, you're grooving, you're building these huge condos, you're multi-units, and then you're back to tool belt in someone's home, renovating a bathroom, kind of back to it. Like, what does that do to like your confidence?
I mean, it's a great question, and I think that the answer is different for every individual.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I love creation. I love working with my hands. I got my tool belt on. I'm building something for this person who's really happy with it, and it's humbling. But at the same time, I've seen failure in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've read a lot about failure. I've seen so many success stories that started with failure. So I never took it to heart. My wife, who wants, women want that level of comfort. The hardest part is me knowing that I'm going to get after it. I'm going to work. No matter what it is, I'm going to get out and I'm going to work and I'm going to make it better. I'm going to make money for my family.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine. Like, I can make this happen. I've done it my whole life. I believe in myself and I can do it. But you have that other side. Like, I'm really worried about my my family's security, from coming from my wife. It's like, why don't you go out and get a job with a corporation and don't work for yourself? And, at that time I was. I went and put my resume out there. I was being interviewed by, some of the biggest construction companies in Greenville. And, I had the job offer once. And I said, I can't do it. I can't sign the paper. This is not me.
Yeah.
I'm not this guy to go work for this corporation. I believe in myself. And that was hard. It was really hard times for the family. My wife wants security. Me being on my own, having my own company out there, it's only me that can provide. That's not secure.
Yeah.
And it's you fight through those times, and it was I believed in myself, and I knew that I could weather the storm and make it happen, and we did. We powered through it. Times turned around, construction happened more. I was because of some of the projects that I built prior to the downturn. It got me a great gig with a developer. So Acadia is a neighborhood just south of the hospital, and it's beautiful homes. And I kind of partnered with a developer, and for the next 7-8 years, I built $400,000 to $900,000 homes, and really learned that much more about construction. And it wasn't a corporate job, but it was also a lot safer. It was like I was with a developer, with a community that was growing. So I kind of found that safety nest that she was wanting, but I wasn't out chasing jobs everywhere.
Yeah.
I was having got the jobs that were given to us.
Some consistency and some comfort, but still on your own pretty much.
Oh yeah.
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 That's wonderful. I love hearing all that because, kind of unpacking your story, Nick, and translating it for some viewers for some cliff notes to take away is the fact of the matter is when the storm hit, you were ready to ride it out, right? You were ready to get through it. And also, as the storm kind of passed, the work you did prior and the reputation you had and the base you put in is kind of what gave you the opportunity and really the foundation to kind of go forth after the storm passed to really thrive and succeed. Mm-hmm. So I love the fact that you kind of like withstood and made it through, really made it through the hard times, made it through the storm. And I know what the pressure, I'm not gonna say I know what the pressure is like yet of having the family behind you, like what are we gonna do? You got this.
Right.
But I do know the belief in oneself and knowing if you're gonna bet on somebody, you might as well bet on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one sure bet. I know that I can get out there and I can provide.
Yeah.
It's work ethic, right? And I did it from very early on, and no matter what the job was. If I was back to valet parking cars, here in Greenville, I knew I could provide.
Where's that belief come from? Do you think you always had that, or was it just from a track record of making it work?
That's another great question, Ted. I see so many people, you know, of course, millennials out there, you know, you guys have a bad rep in today's, you know, older gentleman society because that work ethic's not there. You know, I wonder if it's from parenting, you know, and I look back and my parents were great, no complaints at all, but I wasn't pushed as a kid to succeed. They didn't push me in any direction whatsoever. I really think internally it's really just genetics, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be learned, it can be taught, but I have no reason to have a crazy work ethic other than the desire to succeed.
Yeah.
You know, part of it maybe was being able to grow up and see what it's like to have, you know, riches and, you know, the silver spoon. I had a freaking basketball court in my room as a 13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. It was a basketball court. Lived in a great house. And then that house was foreclosed, right? It was all taken away because of some bad decisions and some, you know, economic circumstances. But, you know, if we have time to make it into my existing business, you can see like I have a diverse amount of, you know, companies right now that hopefully can withstand the downturn.
Yeah.
So all of that.
Let's hop into that.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. We got time. This is a very loose format type of show, so you know we can sit here for a few hours if you want. I don't know if the listeners will stay that long. No.
God help you if you do. Get out there and work. Don't sit here and listen to me.
Yeah. But let's talk about the sunshines and I guess the things you've enjoyed since 2008, and really after that foundation started to bear fruit. Where'd you head?
So the construction, you know, stayed in the construction realm. I knew that I was getting burnt out on custom homes. The Pinterest pages of these wives and their expectations of what they wanted and what they could afford, I realized that, you know, that was just never going to mash up. So I got burnt out on the custom front. I was like, it's time for me to part ways. You know, I built about 50 homes in that community, and I was good. I was ready to move on. So I was like, let's go bigger. Let's take this company to the next step. Let's go commercial route. So I got my full general contracting license, unlimited general contractor, and so let's see where we can go from here with it. And did some small jobs for some big clients. Hell, I think really what propelled us is I built a lactation room for the #1 architect in Greenville.
What's a lactation room?
A lactation room, right. So they had like 8 pregnant women on staff. I mean, we're talking about an architecture firm that has 130 architects on staff, and they had 8 pregnant women, and by law now, if you have X amount of pregnant people, you have to provide a lactation room for these women to...
Get it? I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we're talking like this little cubby under the stairs. We built a lactation room for these clients. And they liked us. They liked me. They liked my team. And shortly after that, we were interviewing for, which is now Gather GVL, a downtown Greenville, 13 restaurants, 21 shipping containers, you know, right in the heart of what is now becoming the new developed Greenville on Augusta Street, right in Augusta, Maine. So doing some small jobs for some big people propelled us into that. From that, Gather GVL, you know, we've kind of just taken it at the same front, kind of backing up a little bit. You know, we had a historic building that we found 7 years ago when the area was not regentrified yet at all. It's like, I think that we can put 60 apartments in this building, and it took us, you know, again, more rain. It took 7 years because there was rain in that. 4 years into that project, we're talking about a $12 million project. It's big. Biggest project in my career, still to date, we're working on. We were 2 weeks away from closing and starting construction on it. And the building, again, was subordinated to us. The guy who owned the building gave the building into the agreement. So, huge part of that deal. It was November 2016, and there was a fire that night. Some vagrants, people were staying in the building, set a fire in it, and within 24-hour period, the guy who subordinated the building to us died. So not only did we lose 20% of the building in fire, but the main credit partner passed away.
Wow.
So you know, we thought the project was shot. Going back, saying we're about to start renovations again. You know, we had put everything, you know, in the company, getting ready to start this huge project for us. So it took another 3 years, perseverance. You know, we had to get the whole project out of, sorry, I'm trying to think what it's called when somebody passes away and there was, you know, however it is, you know, there's a lot of the tax side that we had to work through. It took 3 years later, and we finally got to 2018 where we started construction on it. as the base 360 side goes, it's really where you start small, you keep after it, you have some breaks that the hard work provides, do some jobs for some important people, and you find a realm that you're now all of a sudden, a company that's 10 times the size it was 2 years ago, which we are right
Congrats,
now.
Man.
Thank you. But then it comes to diversification. That sounds like we're only doing this one thing. We have the gym. So like we said, Metabolic Greenville is an interval fitness training facility in downtown Greenville. And how we got into that was it was an upfit I did on the construction side. So I built the place for the founders of Metabolic out of Charlotte, and it was a corporate store for them. And so in my upfit, I built in a lifetime membership for my wife and I. And
beautiful.
It was we were in the fitness realm. I was a soccer player in high school, and Emery was in college, and my wife has always been very active, but by no means did we consider ourselves fitness professionals. So Metabolic, we fell in love with the program. To be able to go in and have cutting edge, movement science at its finest every day. We loved it. Loved the people in it. And it was about 2 years old, and the founders who owned the store, they were like, we don't have any local ownership in Greenville. It's like, we need somebody as a face of the business that could take it to the next level. I said, do you guys want to buy it? So we bought a small ownership interest in it just to see if it's something we could fit in. And very quickly, we like this. This is a happy place. I think
it is a happy place.
Ted's there.
I can attest to that.
Andre's not there, but Ted is.
Actually, Andre worked out one time, and I don't think you were there. Did he tell you about this? It's the last workout, and he disappears. And he went to the bathroom because he had to throw up. But kudos to Andre because he came back after throwing up. We were all done, and he went back to the machine. He's like, I gotta finish.
My man. He's an athlete. He knows how it works. Exactly.
Yeah. You're not done.
We had all that too in soccer. I remember Hell Week, the first week of soccer, and it was just brutal. They would just run you to death. Throwing up was part of it. You just throw up and keep on going.
I will say that about Metabolic. What I like about it, I've never thrown up Metabolic.
I've not either.
I don't want to. But
Andre's the only one in the room.
It's one of those things that I played football in high school, volleyball in college, and flag football after. Always wanted to be athletic and being part of a team. And Metabolic for me is, I don't know what I'm training for. Sometimes I feel like I'm training for a fight. Sometimes I'm training for a game.
We're training for life.
And it's just, the people in there, and especially on anaerobic days when you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this for another 30 seconds? And some random person's like starts clapping and saying, let's go, and you just get hyped. It has that team atmosphere to it, which you can't replicate that anywhere else.
The community is fantastic. I love every single person that's there, and that's what got us there.
Nice.
I think a lot of it is we're not a competitive environment, so you don't have these big egos that you have in a lot of other gym facilities. The fact that we're not tracking you, we're not pushing you on reps. You get in there, and you and me are getting after it. We want to see each other push a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But as the business, as the model, as the coaches, all we care about is your form. We want you to do it right, and we want you to look perfect doing it. And so, that model I love, because I think you lose the ego that so many gyms have, and I think it's a huge stereotype that people see as well. They see how it gets pretty intense in there, but at the same time, we don't have the egos. There's nobody competing against you, and the only person watching you is your coach, and that's their job to watch you, is make sure you're on point.
I'm in too much pain to watch anybody else.
Exactly. You just want make sure I breathe one more second. Keep breathing.
What's that clock say?
So it was something that we found that we loved, and it was passion, and it's not construction. So let's take on a business that, construction goes to hell in a handbasket. Let's at least have something we can go do that we know is going to make some money, and let's go run a gym.
And you enjoy it too.
And we love it. And the construction realm's hard. Most of the time, as the owner of the company, my phone rings when there's problems, right? So I the problem solver. That's my job. I'm good at it.
Put out fires. But
when I go to that gym, there's no problems. Everybody's happy. There's endorphins, and so that's the getaway. It's like we can break free. We can, get the body happy and make it feel good. Get those endorphins flowing and see smiling faces, just like yours, Ted.
Yeah, I try. So what are the rainbows you're chasing now? What's the plan? What's the goals for Nick Gilley and Co? Family, companies, everything.
Yeah, it was my dream as a kid to build skyscrapers. And I backed off on that dream for a while because I was thinking that's a whole lot of effort. That's a lot of stress to build skyscrapers. But I've gotten back into it, and
Yes.
I've kind of embraced the effort, the desire, and Ted, I love having my fingerprint on our town, our community. What we're doing out there. Right now with Gather GVL, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that go through there a year. It's going to be a hub. It's a modern day food hall, and it's like we built this place. It's we don't own it. We're GC on it. This developer's idea, his concept, but the reason that project came together is myself and my team, Carl Jones, the project manager, that has broken his back to make that happen, and that's going to change the face of Augusta Street in Greenville. It's nothing big, but it's something.
It's a start.
That we're going to make an impact on people's lives.
I'm going to ask something of you.
What's that?
I'm going to have you lean into the mic and make the statement that you're going to build a skyscraper right here on No Rainbows podcast. Speak it into existence.
Ted, we're going big. We're going to build some skyscrapers.
That's what I'm talking about. You made the eye contact for that too. And the folks at home or in the car, they heard it also.
Right. We're going big.
You're on your way.
So, we're taking this company. It's pretty great places right now. So I got a great team together that's doing fantastic, and these jobs are right in front of us right now. So
yeah, I'm excited for it. What lasting advice would you want somebody listening right now, whether they're looking to get into the construction world, whether they're kind of just trying to figure out what they're doing through college, or maybe they're looking for that kick in the butt to get that work ethic going? What would you tell them right now to turn their life around, help them weather the storm?
The best advice I feel like I can give individuals out there is the only person that's going to help yourself is yourself. I see so much with people looking outside, and I'm talking about looking outside for advice for people, outside for that assistance for people, and by no means do I mean this in any way, but even religion for a lot has somebody looking for outside assistance. But if we can kind of turn that back around and look internally, that you were the one responsible for your actions. You were the one responsible for getting up every morning, for grinding out, making your decisions, using your mind to make your life the best it can be. So perseverance, and internally, you were the one responsible for your life. Don't ask anybody else.
Yeah, just take ownership of it.
Take ownership.
Take ownership. Andre, any parting words? It's not over, brother.
It's not over, brother. We are all for it.
All forward. Guys, thanks for listening. If you made it to the end of the episode, I think there was a lot of value to unpack here, but weather the storm, make it through it, and rely on that work ethic, because that's what's going to get you through. And the work that you put in, that's the foundation for your future success. So don't do anything halfway. Go 100%. We've said all forward a bunch of times. That's an inside joke, but I think you could decipher exactly what it means. It means keep pushing on, get through the storm. And as we always say, everybody wants the sunshine, but they don't want the rain. But you can't get the pleasure without a little pain. Let's grow.
All right. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Andre.
I love it.